Welcome back to another week of Rake Your Position. Just four guys that love to talk baseball, and we're living out our dreams from the comfort of our chairs. I'm Ahron, the host.
I am Joe, the groundskeeper. A little foreshadowing. My shout out goes a little like this. More to come later. Go ahead.
I am Jay Lee, the Rover.
And I'm Corey, the stat man, and I'm now afraid.
I did not know Joe had his Zoom mic set to Aaron Neville, but hey, here we go. All right, we're going to jump right in with our top five rankings, guys. It's been a fun week of baseball.
Has it?
No, actually, it hasn't. All of our teams have been horrible, except for Corey's.
I've had a pretty good time, actually.
Yeah. Corey's been enjoying it lately. Just give you a couple of highlights. Last week, you remember we had the Rays, Braves, Brewers, Mets, and Yankees in that order. And I'll give you a foreshadow as well. Our rankings look a lot different this week.
Oh.
We had 9 teams get votes. And so without further ado, we'll start with our number 5 team this week, getting a single second place vote, but high enough to get 5th in our rankings is the Baltimore Orioles. And you'll see your boy, the Rover, suited up, ready to play. In 4th place, also debuting this week in our rankings with 2 5ths and a 2nd.
Dang.
Are the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh my
They got 3 votes in 4th place this week. Returning for a second straight week, moving up to the 3 spot. This is making Jared look awfully smart after we made fun of him last week a little bit. Are the Texas Rangers. They got a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th to give them the 3rd spot this week. And the top 2 teams haven't changed a whole lot. We have the Braves coming in at number 2. They didn't get any first place votes this week, so they did fall a little bit from 16 votes to 11, but they still held on to the number 2 spot. The Rangers had 10 votes, so it's really close. And the Rays, for the first time since our perfect rankings have came out, the Rays actually got all 4 first place votes. And they are once again on top of our rankings, which I believe they have stayed in number 1 since we started this.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, obviously our rankings were everywhere. The Twins also got a 5th place vote. I gave the Brewers a 4th place vote. I gave the Diamondbacks a 3rd place vote. And somebody else gave Houston a 3rd place vote. So I'm not sure who that was without looking.
That was me.
All right. They may know who gave the Twins the vote. I think, Joe, you did. I think you snuck them on the 5th, which, they've been playing better.
Yeah.
So, that 5th spot, as we've talked a lot, it could go a lot of different directions. But would seem to have a clear top 3 with the Rays, Braves, Rangers. But with that, let's talk about some of these new teams. Let's start in 5th place there, Jared. You gave them a 2nd vote. We've all been fans of what they're doing in Baltimore lately. So it's cool to see them up here. So talk a little bit about Baltimore with us, Jared.
I think you nailed it. I think we've been wanting them to be good for a while. They've got all this young talent. I mean, the reason why I picked them, not simply just because of their ranking, but got a run differential of plus 21. They're 8-2 in their last games. Now, I know if you go back and look, they haven't played probably the most, I would guess you could say, sound competition, but they just seem from top to bottom like there's not right now an insane weakness. Like we mentioned before the pod, like Jorge Mateo is coming into his own. The pitching looks pretty good. And then, I think to me, the biggest thing is like, I'm the guy that likes people having fun in baseball. And this team seems like to be one of the top teams that's having fun. Their outfield, Cedric Mullins, I know we got to see him in the World Baseball Classic, but I've always liked him a lot. Austin Hayes is bringing it on. I mean, obviously, Ali Rushman and all those guys. So they got my vote just because of the way that they're playing. Now I know they're 16-8, second in the AL East right now, behind Tampa Bay Rays. But I mean, they keep playing like this, they're going to keep getting my vote for a long time.
You guys got anything to add there with Baltimore, Joe and Corey?
Except that they messed up their voting.
I mean, I think it's like if you're gonna have a team in second place that ranks high, it's gonna be in the AL East that's behind the Rays. So I think it's a reasonable vote. I do think their pitching could see some improvement. And I think I've highlighted it. Well, I mean, they brought Grayson up, and DL Hall is kind of waiting in the wings. I think they have the guys if those guys come up and perform. But no, they didn't make my top 5, but I think 2 might be a little high, but somewhere on the list is not egregious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I hit on him in the preseason. Corey basically said what I said as well. With the pitching that they have, if it's league average, they could make some noise. And I don't know if Tampa Bay keeps playing like they are, maybe they don't catch first place, but maybe they catch one of those wild cards, and it'd be sweet to see Baltimore make some noise. Jay Lee's looking good in the Baltimore outfit.
Great colors. I mean, what else
Wonderful.
can you say?
Is there a name on that jersey, or is it just a generic?
It's mine on the back of it. They sent it to me the other day.
Oh, you getting ready? Yeah, because they might need you. Because I'm looking at these ERAs, man. They're all over the place. Some guys are like, there's 3 pin arms that are under 1, and then there's a couple 5 pin arms that are over 6 ERAs. Man, they're all over the place. So, but of course, pins are probably the easiest thing to fix as long as the rotation stays healthy. And
Batista is disgusting. So
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know Mikel Givens, or Michael Givens, however you say his name. He's coming back soon, and he's always performed out there. It looks like in their lineup, I mean, Santander is the only one not hitting, and out of everybody, he's the one you expect to hit. Like, he's the proven commodity, so you don't worry about him too much. And I'm honestly surprised that they kept Jorge Mateo. I thought that was somebody the Braves were looking to with their shortstop issues. And, we've talked about the Dodgers need a shortstop, all these teams that need shortstops. And Baltimore was wise to keep him, it looks like, 'cause he's
well, it'll be interesting to see if he sustains that, because I don't.
Nobody hits 350 for the year.
Well,
so
I mean, even something close to
yeah.
that, just based on his previous years.
The slugging's ridiculous, but can he keep like a near 400 OPP with his speed? That'd be huge. But yeah, I like it. Good pick, Jared. Even though nobody else voted for him, we all like it. In 4th place, making their debut. Of course, they're red hot right now. I did want to vote for him as well, but that 7-game winning streak that catapulted into first place was against not much. But yeah, they were on the outside looking in, and it looks like they broke in finally. So Joe, talk about your beloved Pirates a little bit.
Yeah, I can talk about why I put him, what I had him at 4th, you said? Am I the only person that voted for him?
Oh no, they got 2 5ths, and then a 2nd. I did not vote for him.
I got you.
Yeah, I don't remember who. I think Joe gave him a 2nd. Their 2 guys gave him a 5th.
And I'll talk a little bit more about him later, but like you said, they are in first. They won again today. They're 17-8 now. And if you watched our preseason picks, I wasn't super kind to either the team or their fans. So they're top 10 in both team pitching, team hitting. They're 2nd in steals. So yeah, I mean, 17-8, first place in the stacked NL Central. So they had to get a vote for me.
No, I know you gave him a funny look there, Aaron, but I agree with him in the stacked NL Central. Like that was the thing is, I said the number 5 was hard. I wanted to put an NL Central team in there, and I think it could have been any of the Cubs, Brewers, or Pirates, but the fact that the Pirates are in first, I feel like that was kind of my tiebreaker. So, yeah, I mean, I know that the competition maybe hasn't been great, but they're ahead of 2 other teams that I would have loved to put there, but I didn't think I could, because they're the team that's in first. So that's why the Pirates got my 5th place vote.
Yeah, Jared, you also vote for him. Anything to add?
No, I think it's tough to vote against a team that you said just went on that kind of a win streak. They're 17-8, dominating the Central right now, but I think they have an awesome combination of veterans and youth. That's a pretty tough thing to do, I think, in the MLB because you want to play the youngsters, but you obviously need that veteran presence. But I mean, Kutch has got glimpses of his old self. I mean, he's batting 269, but I mean, he's kind of doing his thing. Carlos Santana looks like Carlos Santana. And it seems like the guy, the Castro, who's kind of taken. I mean, they're doing all this without O'Neal Cruz, which is pretty cool. So it seems like Castro's coming. I mean, batting 273 and doing his thing. So I don't know. It sucks that they're in the Central, obviously because being a Cardinals fan, but it's cool to see a town like Pittsburgh, who's been, seems like their stadium's always empty, to kind of be in here and making some noise. And I'm being honest, like it'd be exciting to see them continue to do this. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like it. Just so be completely honest with you, I had the Brewers in my fourth spot, and you guys all had Pittsburgh there, and so I was looking at Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Chicago, the Cubs. I had all three teams pulled up. I figured one of them's going to get in there. The Cubs, I did this a couple of days ago. Cubs had just dominated the Athletics, so Pittsburgh had just dominated the Rockies. Milwaukee still had a tougher schedule at that point, so I gave it to Milwaukee. But man, it was close. Those three teams in the Central all playing really well, and so it'll be fun because Pittsburgh and Chicago both have more young guys to call up if need be. I think Milwaukee's already called up all their guys. Maybe they have more. I'm not keen about, but yeah, so it'll be a fun Central, and it's fun watching Pittsburgh and Baltimore be good again. Like you said, Jared, they're both awesome baseball towns with great histories, and they've been kind of sad for the last 5 to 6 years. So
yeah, and I know it's I had Chicago on the mind too, because I mean I'm looking at a plus 45 run differential, and I mean for Chicago to do that is pretty crazy. And I'm not just doing this because my brother tweeted us to talk about more Cubs. So shout out
Cubs,
Ahron.
Cubs.
I ain't gonna try to talk about it too often, but I'll let Corey do that one for us. But no, I mean they were on my mind too with that run differential. It's pretty crazy.
All righty, then third place team, which I think Corey's going to shed some light on it. Just recap: they got a fifth, a fourth, a third, and a second. So it's the first time that all four of us have voted for them, and it kept them in the 3 spot, almost catching the Braves for our 2 spot, and that's the Texas Rangers. So Corey, shed some light on what they got going on down there.
Yeah, so the Rangers, I don't think the overall record is particularly impressive. They're 14-10, but kind of some of their underlying numbers, which I'm gonna get into a little bit after we talk about this, and kind of their advanced analytics for a team as a whole is very impressive. They have the second best run differential in the American League, and second best overall with a plus 56. I as far as putting them second, I knew it was kind of a who beat who for me when as far as my rankings. I wanted to have the Astros in there and the Braves in there, and the Astros had just swept the Braves. So again, because the Rangers were above the Astros in the standings, they ended up it was Rangers, Astros, Braves 2 through 4 for me. They did just get swept by the Reds. I submitted these rankings on Tuesday morning.
Did not age well.
Well, but here's again, I'll get a little bit more into this, but when they lose, they don't lose by a lot. So they got walked off at least twice, I think. It might have been, but they lost today's game by 2, yesterday's game by 1, the game before that by 1. So when they're losing, they're not losing by a lot. So it's I think that just shows that they're still a competitive team even when they lose.
It was all in Cincy too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's and I think they had Lodolo and Ashcraft. I don't remember who. So I mean they were going up, I think, against some pretty good talent. Let me see. I forget.
Yeah, it's not embarrassing to get beat by Cincy this year. Like
no.
They could beat you, or they could lose by 10 runs, but they're going to be competitive most nights.
I think like what Joe said in the predictions, if they have if Cincy has any of those 3 guys in green, Lodolo or Ashcraft going, they can beat the best of them. And that their lineup isn't egregious. There is certainly room for improvement in it, but they can put up enough runs to, I think, back those guys. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out who the other guy that went for him was. Luke Weaver. So they had Luke Weaver. I think was making his. I don't know if that was his first start this season or his second start, but Luke Weaver, Badolo, and Ashcraft. So, two of those three guys are young and exciting, and Weaver's been pretty steady throughout his career. But, and I think the underlying or maybe the advanced analytics, whatever you want to call it, make them show that they should be a better team than maybe their 14-10 record would indicate. So, which I'll get into, like I mentioned. So.
Yeah, anything else to add there, guys? I think Corey did a good job there. Good team on the rise, but what else?
I'd say Corey did an average job. I wouldn't give him too much praise, but I know when is it Sager or Seager? I guess I don't know.
Seager, yeah, that's the other thing is they're doing all this without Seager.
Yeah, I know when Seager went down, he's on my fantasy team too. But I was like, man, who's going to pick up this offense? And they're still just scoring runs like crazy. So they haven't missed a beat without their best hitter.
For the record, I voted for him first to put him in the power rankings, so I just want to take credit for that.
I gave you credit earlier. I said Jared Lee looked smart. So that wraps up the three at the bottom, and then just cap it off quickly again with Braves in second, the Rays in first. They've been on the power ranking all 3 weeks now. The Rays, of course, have been first each time. The Rays just haven't slowed down one bit. They lost the one series of Blue Jays, which now looks like how did the Blue Jays pull it off, because Tampa just keeps rolling. And the Braves won 8 straight, lost 4 straight, and then have just won 3 straight as of today. They just swept the Marlins, who had a record above 500 when the series started, Jared. So you'll be happy that the Braves now have beaten a team with a winning record. It was the Marlins of everybody, but there you go. And Michael Harris is going to rehab. Darno's going to rehab soon. Colin McHugh just got activated. Iglesias has been pitching, so they're just getting healthy now too. So that wraps up the top.
What kind of rehab?
Iglesias hasn't pitched yet, so it's sore shoulder.
I think he meant
that's it. I know what he meant.
I did before. I knew you were going to talk about the Braves, so I did save this clip because I love when media or anywhere pulls up the most ridiculous stats.
Sure, yeah.
Why does that even need to be a thing? But I thought this one was pretty cool. So Ronald Acuna Jr. has 123 home runs and 119 stolen bases in his first 537 MLB games, and no one else has ever done that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Even though he's brave, Ronald is probably one of my favorite players to watch. I know Corey's falling asleep over there, but I just wanted to chime in on that, and that's all I will say about the Braves.
I wasn't going to talk that much about them because they've been on here for 3 straight weeks now, but Acuna did not get a hit in the first inning today, so that lowers his first inning batting average to like 620.
That's nuts.
Yeah, he's gotten a hit in like 15 or 16 first innings now. The MLB record's like 58. He's on track for like over 100 first inning hits. So he looks good. All righty. Well, that concludes our top 5, and we'll keep that going each week. As we've noted,
did we talk about the Rays?
Do we need to? The Rays have been raising.
You got something else to add with the Rays? Yeah, go for it.
Nice.
No, the only thing I was going to say is, did anybody or everybody see that barehanded catch by Wander?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
cool. He's a stud. He's doing what they thought he'd do, and he's still young. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not letting him off the hook.
He's locked up too.
And looking at top 5, the Rays are in first, Braves are in first, Rangers are in first, Pirates in first, and then Baltimore's in second. But they're just as good as those other teams so far. So
and
yeah, it'll be fun.
Tampa Bay is still a plus 87 run differential. That's dumb.
Yeah. It's crazy how good they've played and kept it going. And they still have hit a home run in every game, haven't they?
No, they got shut out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. Their third loss was a shutout. I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Cool. All righty. Well, that wraps up our rankings. And real quick, we're going to end our oldest players on opening day roster segment, something near and dear to my heart because it makes me feel young. So number 5 this year on the opening day rosters, as far as the oldest active players is Miguel Cabrera. Crazy to think that he's 40. He turned 40 in April. Give you a quick bio here as we close this out. He made his debut June 20th in 2003 for the Marlins. Spent 4.5 years with the Marlins, and now is in his 16th year with Detroit. That's insane. Of course, he was traded with Dontrell Willis for Dallas Traherne, Burke Bradenhop, Frankie Dela Cruz, Cameron Maben, Andrew Miller before he was relief beast Andrew Miller, and Mike Rabello. Yeah, so that didn't quite work out for Miami. 12-time 12-time All-Star, 4 batting titles, 2012 Triple Crown, MVP of the American League in 12 and 13, 7 Silver Sluggers, 2nd in active WAR. Quick trivia: Miggy has 77.7 WAR. Who is number 1 in active WAR?
I know. So if anybody else wants to try, go ahead.
Miggy's second.
Skip, I'll let you take the first guess.
Blows my mind. Who's ahead of Miggy right now?
Is it
Active
can
WAR.
you tell us if it's a hitter or pitcher?
It's a hitter.
Hitter.
Blew my mind. I was like, who could possibly be ahead of him?
Robinson Cano.
Not even close.
Jared, go ahead.
It's Bo Hart. I already knew it.
Mike Trout already has 83.7 WAR.
31 years
I
young.
should have guessed that.
He's
Wow.
6 WAR ahead of Miggy and still going. Votto is number 3 at 59.1.
Here goes our war game. Everybody's
So, yeah, don't use those 3 guys. I just couldn't believe it. I had to throw that out there.
Hey, Robinson Cano's at 68, so he's not on a
good guess.
team right now.
Yeah, so Trout's got 20 more and still playing.
Yeah.
3,097 hits and counting, but he's not really getting hits, so I don't know how many more will be counting. 507 homers. Last year, he only had a 622 OPS in 112 games with only 5 homers. This year, he's currently got a 528 OPS and no homers. So it seems to be time, Miggy. But you can't argue with his career, obviously. He's at 400 million earned to date. He still has 60 million in vesting options. However, those vesting options are top 10 finishes in MVP this year, next year, to get an extra 30 mil. So there's still a chance he's gotta fix something. But we've been talking about Hall of Fame candidates and these old players. I think it's a no-brainer. Miggy's first overall, first ballot, first year.
Not a chance.
They should just put him in when he retires later on this year.
Especially because he has any sort of steroid connection.
Exactly. Yeah. As far as I know, I've never heard anything. So,
yeah.
Of course, he came up as a third baseman and left fielder.
Baby face.
Young and athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him and Pujols, it's tough for me to say who's the best right-hander of my generation.
Huh?
Yeah.
Miggy and
I
Pujols.
I think Miggy's peak was a little
maybe need to go
longer.
look at the stats.
Like it seemed like war
Pujols has
like
700
Pujols
homers.
War. I know, but like it's just I don't
I mean,
know. I
maybe
feel
like
like Pujols
peak
went
versus
to
peak, but-
LA and just like immediately just crashed and burned.
Yeah, like as far as career, Pujols obviously got the better career, but I'm saying like before Miggy started getting hurt, like Pujols was able to still do damage while he was hurt. Miggy never got righted after he got hurt. But I mean, those first 14 years was like, holy cow.
I think it's Pujols. I'm just saying I think it's closer than it like the numbers may lead you to believe. Because the numbers do favor Pujols very heavily.
You remember there's a lot of rumors early 2000s, mid 2000s about, the Cardinals trying to get Cabrera, him and Pujols 3 and 4. Nowadays it'd be 2 and 3, I guess, but
yeah,
never materialized. But man,
and in the prime of his, like right in the middle of his peak prime, he went back to third base. That probably slowed down his numbers quite a bit. And if he would just went straight to DH,
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
but he was fine at third. He wasn't anything great, obviously. But with Prince at first
and Victor DH.
Yeah, and Victor Martinez was there. So yeah, that's Miggy.
He seems like a fun guy too. There's a lot of funny clips of him having fun playing baseball.
Yeah, I feel bad for both the Tigers and him at this point, but also like where the Tigers are at. I think it's good to again have him around, and like he just seems like a fun guy. But the Tigers are bad. Miggy's bad. They're just paying him a ton of money to not to really do anything except, I don't know, like almost kind of probably like a player coach role. But he deserves whatever he wants. So if this is what he wanted, then good for him.
Yeah, because it'd be weird if Tigers were good and he's taking up a bench spot
Yeah.
because you wouldn't be DHing him if they were good and you have to
Yeah.
cut him. At least this way he gets to probably play the whole year if he wants to.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, take it away.
Yeah, so I was to kind of follow up on the top 5 rankings. I wanted to dig into some advanced kind of team analytics. We talked a little bit about advanced analytics for players a couple weeks ago. So I wanted to take a look at basically what the numbers say teams specifically are overperforming or underperforming. And there's 2 kind of main schools of thought here. One is the Pythagorean record, which heavily considers run differential. And the other one is called base runs, which considers basically the number of base runners they have. So if you're kind of thinking about it as like a Google Maps situation, your win-loss record is like your bird's eye. You see the route and the line view of like, this team is good because they have this many wins and this many losses. And then like your street view is kind of your Pythagorean record where it takes into consideration the run differential, because the school of thought there is that run differential is a better signifier of what team is good and what isn't. And then base runs is like, if you're putting that under a microscope, you're actually looking at the number of base runners and the types of hits that teams are getting. So that actually weighs like singles, doubles, home runs, walks, caught stealing, grounded to double play. Like it's a very complicated formula. The Pythagorean record formula is pretty simple. It's just it's a runs for, runs against, and there's some exponentials in there. But and those the funny part about that is like people tweak the exponentials because they're like, oh, 1.81 exponent is more precise than 1.83, and it's like, I get where some of us are nerds here, but it can't be that much of a difference. But anyway, so I wanted to kind of highlight some of the teams that are underperforming or overperforming according to their record. The Rays are top still in both in regular record, Pythagorean record, base runs. Kind of one of the reasons I chose the Rangers also for my number 2 is that they have 3 less wins than their Pythagorean record would indicate. Again, that's highly due to their plus 56 run differential. Their base runs is only minus, so they have only 2. Nope, 1. I gotta read my chart here. One less win than they would based on their base runs, but the Phillies are actually the biggest underperformer in terms of base runs. They have an 11-13 record. Their base runs record is 14-10. Right behind them is the Cardinals. They are 9-15 currently. That's maybe before today, but their base runs record indicates that they should be 12-12. Their Pythagorean record indicates that they should be 11-13. So still not a great record, but it's at least 2 wins better than they are.
Or is just finding ways to trash Cardinals right now. I love it.
No. I mean, Skip mentioned, I think, he knew that the Cardinals should be a little bit better than they are playing. The Braves are pretty much even. Yeah, so there's no plus minus differential. Basically, every of the Pythagorean record and their base runs record indicates that they should have a 16-8 record right now. The other reason I wanted to highlight this is because another underperforming team is the Chicago Cubs. They've got a 13-9 record. Their Pythagorean record indicates that they should be 15-7. Their base runs, I think, is even. Now it's 15-7 too. I think it was a little bit better yesterday. But again, this is all run differential or based on your base runners. And like the Cubs shut out the Padres yesterday 6-0. So they've got a very good run differential. And just kind of based on, again, how much you want to put it under the microscope, these different kind of schools of thought. try and predict, I guess, how teams will actually end up. So it's basically saying if they are plus or minus on these wins or records, that should even out over the season. So the Cardinals should eventually, kind of get those wins
Get to
back.
500.
Yeah. But, with that, because we're talking about underperforming and overperforming teams, I did want to give each of you guys, I won't fall asleep when Cooney talks, but some time to kind of talk about your how you're feeling about how your favorite teams are doing, because being a Cubs fan, I am over the moon with how they started. They're 13-9 and I'm over the moon. Like but it's again that they're kind of underlying numbers. Their pitching especially, I think, has been impressive to watch. Stroman's came out of the gate really hot. Justin Steele's the best pitcher you've never heard of. Jameson Taillon has been serviceable. It's all these. Hendricks started a rehab assignment, so he's going to be coming out just peppering it in there. And then their
Pepper.
offense,
More like salting it.
yeah, I mean
Molasses.
it'll be like a pinch of pepper.
Pepper Bay.
But their offense is just fun to watch. They got good contact guys at the top with Horner and Swanson, who don't have good exit velocities but have good expected batting averages. So they're just like hitting bloop singles all over the place, and it's a fun thing to see. And Horner had an on-base streak, and maybe he still does have it going on, but I'm not sure what's going on tonight because I think they're playing right now. But I'm loving how the Cubs are doing. I hope they keep doing well. Bellinger's off to a hot start. It'll be interesting to see what how they if
Us
they-
all off guard there.
yeah, if they continue to keep playing like this, what happens with the team, I guess. But we'll save that discussion for July. So yeah, whoever wants to talk about the Braves or the Cardinals next, go ahead.
Well,
No, go ahead. What do you got?
I was just. You talked about the Pythagorean
Record, yeah.
record. Matt Morris.
Matt Mervis.
What do you think of the individual Pythagoreus, the guy who came up with
The A squared
Pythagoras?
plus B squared equals C squared.
Yeah.
I mean,
Any thoughts on the actual individual?
I don't know him personally. I think he and I's lifespans didn't quite cross paths, but he changed the world of mathematics. So I feel like most people, and again, I'm going to put just this judgment on him for no
it's backwards.
apparent reason. But,
Can't
but
read
most,
it.
It was
feel like-
backward. This was backwards to me, so I switched.
I feel like most super smart people that were alive in that time frame were probably jerks. So, great for changing math, but you're probably a jerk, Pythagoreus.
Everybody
So
else was too stupid
I-
to know they were jerks. So
Maybe true.
I thought we would move on very quickly from Pythagoras, but Corey actually gave us a legitimate response. Thank
You should know better. We talked about dominions for.
that Dominion talk is the best part. That's so good.
What am I supposed to talk about the Cardinals? They're awful. I have 9 rooms in my house. I'm in the only one that's not destroyed, so they're playing terrible. I'm watching them to the left right here, and luckily they're up 1-0. Otherwise, I might have a 9th room destroyed. I'm just hoping it's still early, and nobody is playing up to how they've always played. So you would think it would turn around, but
Need to bring
not.
Mike Schilt back.
Yeah, some people got to be starting to get on the hot seat here before too long. That's all the light I can shed on how awful of a season it's been so far.
Jared, do you want to go ahead and add on to the Cardinals talk?
I don't know if I got much to add to that. I mean, I think Joe summed it up in saying they suck, but I think I dive more into, like, I guess you could say, around culture, and it just seems like you watch this team on TV and just seems like they're just and I think there's no one on this team right now that I'm like seems fired up to play or looks like they're having any fun personally. Not Newt Bar is supposed to be that guy. I mean, he's batting 235, whatever. But I don't know. It just seems like there's something bigger than them just not playing well. I mean, Marmol was supposed to be this guy, but maybe he's not the guy that the Cardinals want him to be. I don't know. It's like I said, I think there's a lot of people in the hot seat. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna unsubscribe real quick and pass it to Cooney for the Braves. So
I was just waiting for you guys to talk about Walker because I haven't been paying attention to the Cardinals that well. And it didn't seem like, sure, he's a rookie, but it doesn't like he's doing horrible. So I was surprised they sent him down. And I mean, he's third in the team in batting average, and his hard hit rates and exit velocities are good. So I mean, you figure out chase and whiff and all that as you get more at bats in the big leagues. So I don't know. I was surprised.
yeah, the article I read on that, because I was surprised by that too, is the hitting coach was working with his swing to produce more line drives instead of ground balls, and they want him to go back to AAA to get one more at bats, I guess, more consistently. You know, because there's Cardinals have like this platoon, whatever outfield whatever you want to call it. I just think right. I just think it's an excuse personally, but I mean, that's what I read at least per sources.
Because O'Neill's hitting 260, no other outfielders hitting over 250. So I don't know. It surprised me. Yeah, I won't say much else about the Braves. Kind of talked about them earlier. They had that one dud series against the Padres in Atlanta at the beginning of the year, where the Padres won 3 out of 4, and then over this weekend the Astros swept them at home as well. So they're actually got a losing record at home, which is weird. But I mean, Acuna is fully back. Olsen, Riley, Murphy, and Albies. That might be the best 1 through 5 going anywhere right now. The bottom's been a hodgepodge of strikeouts and random homers by a bunch of guys that shouldn't be playing this much, but due to injuries they are. And so Harris coming back, Darno coming back, all of a sudden Sam Hilliard's batting ninth, playing left field instead of Ozuna or Kevin Pillar or whoever. And I think it's all good. I mean, rotation's been great. Soroka is in AAA, actually pitching. They don't need him right away, so they're spacing out his starts now so that he can save some innings for the second half, because Bryce Elder gave up 3 runs today, but going in today had a sub-2 ERA as the 5th starter. So everything's looked good. McHugh came back. Iglesias is coming back within a week. So nothing to complain about. All's looking good, and they're getting healthy.
Spencer Strider is pretty good too. Shout out to Adam Lee for
yeah,
pumping up Spencer Strider for us.
Leading the league in Ks.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, Joe Adele will also be a great addition, but you know, the Braves are probably fine.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with scoring the most runs in the National League and giving up second fewest. The only team that's giving up less is the Cubs. But the Cubs got to play the Athletics 3 games, so that helps that runs allowed column.
This was another fun thing, is that actually, according to the Pythagorean record, the Athletics have one more win than they should.
Oh,
9
no.
and 15, or at
Just
5
leave
and
them
19.
off. Just leave them off. Poor guys.
Yeah, so that was
they'll be in Vegas soon. So
if you think your team is doing bad, if you think your team is doing bad, unless you're an A's fan, they're not doing too bad. Go look at that.
Negative 104. That's insane.
okay, they'll move to Vegas. They'll randomly get money all of a sudden and be dominant. So that's how it works.
Side note, did you see there's some big shot in Oakland who wanted to buy the team when Fisher bought him? Did you see that? I didn't read too much into it, but Bud Selig was basically friends with Fisher and the minority owner, and chose to give the team to Fisher instead of allowing the other guy who had more money and bid more for the team to buy him.
I understand it about as much as you just explained it, but I did see it, and it just, I don't know, like
that makes you think, what if?
Yeah, for sure.
That's wild.
Let's make things fun.
Yeah, Jared.
Yes.
Hope so.
Let's make things fun. Thank you, Corey. I always love the stats, even though I don't understand them.
I try to explain it
So-
so my mom would get it, but I don't know if I'm getting there.
It didn't work.
No, okay.
Yeah,
well,
well,
maybe
hey.
next time.
Sorry, viewers, figure it out. Anyway, so to make baseball fun, I came up with the topic today of the best play that you've ever made personally. Now, how I'm going to lead it off is technically I didn't make the play, but the paper said I did. So I'll try to do a quick little, so we'll run through this real quick, but just a little fun story. We were playing in Liberty, like brand new. I think they just made like a brand new field. And I was supposed to play left that game. And we were warming up. That's what coach told me. All of a sudden, right before we go take the field, he's like, hey, you're going to right. You can play the sun better. I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm in the field. Whatever. I'm in the field. So anyway, I go to make this sweet diving play, and the picture looks legit. Like the picture's legit. Like I'm like diving forward, coming like this, and then the ball actually one hopped into my glove, and I think they still called him out. But like I definitely did not catch it, and the paper showed me saying I made a spectacular diving catch, and so I've always hung on to that as well. So I'll pass it on to I'm gonna pass it on to Corey. See what he's got for us.
Was the umpire perhaps Barry Wright?
It could have been.
Yeah,
So
okay.
thank you, Barry. That's
Yeah.
another Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
You know, too.
that was surprising. No, this is an interesting topic because I think as a catcher you don't really have the opportunity for that many great looking plays as far as like the wow factor. So I don't think I have one specifically, but I could run through quite a few. Let me just notebook.
Yeah, he's got a list, guys.
No, I mean, I think my favorite plays that I had when I was catching is just like throwing guys out, because that's like the one thing that you really have a involvement in and like kind of some control over. Certainly a lot of it falls on the pitcher, which there's a new StatCast metric. Again, we're going to kind of go off topic here to the super nerd part of it, but that analyzes, they call it catchers caught stealing above average, which basically isolates the catcher's ability to throw base runners out and doesn't.
That's called a pop time. You throw it in 2 seconds, you should get the guy.
Yeah, but if the pitcher takes 3 seconds to get the ball to the plate, like that's the thing, is it isolates the time to the plate, and like it has a cool graphic of basically the distance the runner is from second by the time the catcher gets the ball. But anyway, moving on.
Corey, I need your play. I
Yeah,
need your play.
it's like throwing guys out specifically at third base, because it was always like, I don't want to say it was relatively easy, but like there's times when I throw guys out at third base by like 20 feet. And then anytime you could throw a guy out on like a ball in the dirt and it was just kind of a smooth, like first baseman sort of pick style scoop and throw, like that quick stuff. So just kind of having that really, that I feel like that's kind of one of the ways that you can have a direct impact on as far as what you're doing as a catcher is throwing people out. But
because I think we've referenced this. Corey had a cannon, just no accuracy.
Yeah, it was great.
So anytime he did throw someone out, it was a spectacular play.
Yeah, the throw usually beat him by 10 feet.
Yeah, it just could have been over there.
Stat man, what do you think your career thrown out percentage is?
Oh, I mean, I'd like to think I was probably around 50%. There's
I would say so.
Well, I'll have to talk about this catcher's caught stealing above average, because there's some interesting things that came about it, but we'll save that for another day. But I'll write that in my notes.
There you go.
All right, Skip, you're up.
I'm up. So first, I'd like to get back to my and this plays into the fun of baseball, and then I'll get to my play, which was hard to pick out. There's around 1,200, but so my shout out earlier, Cooney. What when I do this, what's it make you think of?
I don't know.
Jay
Peter
Lee.
Griffin. What am I missing?
Peter Griffin?
Yeah,
Take,
that's where I'm at.
Take the
That's what I was
dancing out of it.
thinking. Daredevil Peter Griffin things. What I was thinking.
Okay, let me give it a slightly different sound.
How are those two things related at all?
Okay, I'll get to the point. So one thing I noticed at the game this year, at the game I went to, was with the pitch clock and everything sped up, the organ player has way less time to throw in riffs. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Has
but
nobody else thought that?
Okay.
the Braves guy still got it done there. The Braves guy, Matthew
Yeah.
Kaminsky, you need to come on the pod. You're the
I'm-
best.
Yes, please come on the pod. But you'll get a little maybe a charge, but I feel bad for the organ player, and I always liked hearing that. It was usually a live organ player, and I'm sad that they've been 90% cut out of the game.
Let me see where that is on the agenda.
What
real
does this
quick.
have to do with the best play you've ever made?
I said it played into fun and baseball, and
Oh,
now I'm on
okay.
to the
You never said
okay.
that. You
I
never
did.
said that.
I did. Roll the tape.
Oh gosh.
Roll the tape.
Woof.
How much money you want to put on it?
Just go. Let's
I
go.
remember.
Listeners,
I remember
call
him
in.
saying that.
Thank you. So Jay Lee kind of jogged my memory with the paper thing. I was going, so if you're a viewer, I was going ball coming this way and me going like this. But once Jay Lee said paper, I remember I made the paper one time. And I did make the out. But let me explain to you the play. So I played infield, mostly second. And there was a pop-up in there's a pop-up in front of our first baseman. Now, his range was not the best. Well, I'll just leave it at that. If you're listening,
Hi,
me and Timmy
Trev.
love you. Big earn. But so I'm watching the ball go towards him, and then I look over and I realize he's not even moving. So I take off running, and the picture is me like fully laid out, horizontal, diving with the ball going into my glove. And it looks amazing, but the play was really just me making up ground because our first baseman did not want to move.
So your best play in your life is at second base catching a pop up in front of you.
Jay Lee's best play was a catch he didn't even make.
Whoa, for the
Phenomenal.
record, I did not say best play. I said this is a play that I did not make that I did, technically.
Hey, it was a good play. It looked
Oh,
good
that's
on
awesome.
paper. And Mom
We got to
still
find
has it.
that clipping. Mama Ottwell, find that clipping. You know she's got it.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Well, I got two, so sorry I pulled a Corey. My first one was my first home game junior year. I had just spent the end of sophomore year transitioning to the outfield. I grew up as an infielder, shortstop, first base, and third, and started playing at the outfield. So I still wasn't the greatest at reading fly balls.
Oh, I thought
So
you were
for-
ended at reading. I'm not the
Reading.
greatest at reading. Yeah.
Well, I'm joking, talking
struggles
about
with
his
that.
organ piano
Yeah.
days. And
Oh man, I
So-
miss it.
So first ball's hit to me in left field opening day, pretty big crowd there. The news is there. And I made a sensational 7 plays of the week. First fly ball ever hit to me. It looks awesome on the news. I'm running straight back, diving straight back, catching this ball over my head, straight away left. What they left off was the 4 steps I took straight in first and realized, oh crap, it's over my head. Then I had to turn around, run, and dive. So where I ended up landing was pretty much where I started. So if I would just stood there, it would have been a routine catch. But they cut off the first half of the play and made it look like I was sprinting straight back to catch it. But my favorite play was the summer after freshman year in college. Joe and I got to go back and play one more summer with the guys. And the last regular season game, I was playing center against Jerseyville, which was always a big rival of ours. And I threw out a guy at third and at home from center, 2 different plays. And then we played them playoffs, whatever you call it, in the summer. And I was in right field the next time, 4 days later, playing them in right field. Guy on third, top of the 7th. We're up 1 with 1 out. And a fly ball comes to me, normal depth. I'd take maybe 2 or 3 steps in, but it was pretty normal depth. And the guy breaks home, and I was able to catch it for the second out, and throw it out to the plate to end the game with a double play at the plate. Now, rumor has it, Joe B was our catcher. Rumor has it that Joe completely whiffed on the tag, and we got the call anyway because the throw beat him. So, but from the outfield, it looked awesome. Joe catches it, turns and dives, and looked like he tagged the guy. So I call
remember watching it from second base. It looked awesome from second base as
it.
well.
Yeah, because it's one of those plays Jared knows as an outfielder. Like, yeah, you want to hit the cutoff, you want to hit the cutoff. But in that situation, there's no point to even worry about the cutoff. It's everything you got to the plate because there's no other runners. So you just let it fly. And it was a perfect strike right to the catcher, maybe a step up the line, but it was an awesome way. It's the only time I've ever ended the game throwing a guy at the plate. And it was one of the last games I played before we aged out. So it was a lot of fun.
Was the umpire perhaps Barry Wright?
No, it was actually Chad Ferguson.
Oh,
And
okay. That's about the same.
So it's
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
same.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
Yeah, he said something to the effect of, the throw beat him, game over. The Joe beat.
Yeah,
No.
that's maybe a bit of
Which
a homer call.
for our viewers, Chad was he was a senior when Joe and I were sophomores, and he was a varsity catcher, stud catcher. So he was a hometown home plate umpire.
Yeah, we got a few of those.
Yeah, that's what you get in small town America.
So, see, viewers, baseball's still fun. It always will be fun. It's weird that you mentioned that play, Cooney, about making sensational 7 by getting burnt, because I actually have done the exact same thing.
I thought you had. I was waiting for it.
I think that's all you got to do is fake it till you make it, I guess they say,
That's right.
But I was at Q&D when I did that, and I took 4 steps in, and I'm like, that ball is way over my head. But, make the diving catch, you make sensational 7, and you move on.
That's just
All right,
how I
Skip.
play the outfield still. But
I got a similar play to yours too,
That's a
Jared.
different story. Corey, we'll talk about you playing the outfield
Yeah.
later.
I had a similar play like you two, Jared. At camp point, my dad still makes fun of me for this because listeners, I'm a pastor now. So the fact that I lied on the baseball field, my dad still makes fun of me for this. But I dove in from left field, dove in to catch a ball. It went right underneath my glove and I landed on it. And so I grabbed it with my bare hand and rolled over and stuck it up in the air. And the base ump was a varsity kid. This was a sophomore year JV. They had a varsity kid umping the bases because the other ump hadn't showed up yet. So he calls him out. So I throw the ball back in, got it out. Clearly did not catch it.
Seemed like it might have been Barry Wright umping. But
yeah,
Maybe his grandson or great grandson.
no.
Terry Wright.
All right, Skip. What do we got?
Yeah,
So
for
I
viewers,
have, well, there may have been some miscommunication, but I think it's going to work out in the end.
he's
Yes.
got a
On you.
PowerPoint of his favorite organ players.
If he
Tune in
doesn't, we
next
should
week.
just end the pod today. Yeah.
Actually, it's just going to be a segment of me humming my favorite organ tunes. So have
And
you
we
guys
have to
heard the
guess
one
it?
that goes?
What is that from? You didn't explain what that's from.
That's from a baseball game. Bum 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 bum.
You
bum,
can-
That
bum,
is
bum.
not
Sound
what
like
that
Peter
sounded
Griffin
like.
laughing.
Dude, you sound like Peter Griffin. 100%.
Okay, so I have
Nothing.
a short PowerPoint on the first place team in the NL Central. We've already hit on them a little bit, and they won again today. That's the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we're gonna do a little more of a deep dive. Let me see if I can get this going.
For anybody listening, we're probably like 55 minutes to an hour in. So if you're listening, you should find the YouTube video, go to about 55 minutes and watch this particular segment. We'll do our best to narrate it, but it's worth to just see it.
Corey, I think you'll be very happy with this.
I'm always happy
There it
with
is.
what you have, Joseph.
What do you guys see here? No, don't be looking at
Good-
extra slides. Don't be looking at
Good
extra
or
slides.
bad?
So for all of our Hispanic listeners out there, I threw a little bit of Spanish in here. This is
Gracias.
so in a bizarre twist of fate. I may jump off the Pirates bandwagon, or I may jump in the driver's seat and drive it till the end of the show. So earlier I talked about, first in the NL Central, I think second best record in all of baseball behind Tampa Bay. Who saw that coming with the Pirates? So we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive in here and see, are they really that good or are they not? Second slide. I don't remember what's on the second slide, but click over to it. So yeah, just a few more things we've already said here. Tied for second best record in baseball, first in Central. Just signed Brian Reynolds to an 8-year deal.
Good job, by the way. Great job, Pirates.
And that's a little surprising considering I think he did request a trade, and I'm not sure.
It was because they couldn't come to an agreement. But 8-year deal, also max of $15 million a year. Like,
That's how you
No,
get
yeah.
money, dude.
bravo.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that deal at all. I think you do that all
Absolutely
day.
not.
I wonder if their hot start played into him being okay with signing long term with Pittsburgh. I'm probably reading into that too much, but good get. I think he's easily their best player. I know people are high on Hayes and Cruz, but to me, they really haven't proven anything yet.
Yeah, I think he's their most proven. Also traded for Andrew McCutchen. So fun little fact about Brian Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I thought maybe that'd be in the PowerPoint. I didn't want to steal spoilers.
Oh
there.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you guys always talk over my clips. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They're also second in steals. I mentioned that earlier. Jay Lee, you know what they say, right? You can't teach.
Speed, baby.
Nope, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So on to the next
Yeah.
slide here.
All right. Well,
So Pirates are sounding great, looking good. It's awesome for the Pittsburgh fans. They've won a long time with, they sprinkled in some maybe second place finishes throughout the years, but they've never played really as good as they are. So with this description, sounds great, look good. I wanted to just deep dive into a few things that I popped into my mind when I thought sounds good, look good. Here's where the train is hitting the Dixie horn and we are flying off the track, boys. Hang on, here we go.
Choo choo.
So this here, this actually, this is a Trojan horse. This signaled the end of a war to the Trojans. So Greeks are attacking Troy, right? Can't get in. Too beastie. So they give him a gift. Looks good. End of the war sounds good. That's amazing. Next. For our viewers out there, for our listeners, this is a picture of a duo group, I believe from maybe the 80s, early 90s, Milli Vanilli. These guys sounded good and looked good. Win-win. Next here, if you're a sheep farmer, you already know that you get wool. You can make clothes from these sheep and you look good. You can eat them. You can eat the young ones and it's called lamb and it tastes good. So that sounds good. Last one, hold on with me here. The last one, this is a little personal favorite of mine. In 2007, they made a movie, Beowulf. Yes, Corey.
No, you just did not point out a very important part of that last picture.
Can I, let
No,
me
go
continue,
ahead,
please.
go
I think
ahead,
I'll
go
get there.
ahead.
So Beowulf, this one's a little personal. So I remember reading the story in school. I was like, this would be the greatest movie ever. They came out with this in 2007. I'm like, that poster looks good. This movie sounds good. The 10th century poem is getting a feature film. Yes. All right. Well, all these things have something in common, and it's that, yes, that's right. The Trojan horse was full of troops that came out and took over Troy. Milli Vanilli was a lip sync act, and their track got off and they went downhill. The sheep, it's actually a wolf that eats you. And what was the last one? Beowulf. That movie was trash. So just to jump into a few stats that show the Pirates should nowhere near be the top of the division. I'm going to hit you with some digits. So right now, they're tied for 7th in OPS, 11th in batting average. Their best hitter is out. They have some guys playing out of their mind. Andrew McCutchen is playing better than he has in at least 7 years, if not 8 or 9. Connor Joe is OPSing over 1,000. Never been good. Brian Reynolds, he's good, but he's on the DL. So 19th in WHIP, 10th in ERA. You're telling me these guys should have the second best record in baseball. So that is my, I guess, rant of the day, my PowerPoint. I hope that all made sense. I feel like it really did. I did send all the content was mine, but I sent this to Microsoft and they put together the PowerPoint in a professional manner. So that's why it looks so good. But outside of that, I do have one more slide. And at the end of the day, this is just me being salty, right? The Pirates are in first, the Cardinals are in last, so I'm in a bad mood. So again, congrats, Pittsburgh Pirates fan. Your team's in first. I don't think it'll stay that way, but hey, if they do, 2023 season's looking good for you. So
Aaron, you had your hand up.
He brought it back home with being salty because he was sitting there mouthing them, and yet he voted them as a top 5 team.
Yeah.
hey, I told you.
So I was surprised, but the salty brought it.
No,
That was good.
That was
was
amazing.
that was very good. It is interesting. Both according to the Pythagorean record and the base runs record, they are the third best team in the Central. So,
Yeah.
that's that. Like I said, I think any of those top three teams in the Central could have won in the top 5. But
I think things will straighten out, but hey,
Yeah.
sometimes teams stay hot all year.
so they have +1 expected wins as far as the Pythagorean record and +2 for base runs. So, take that
But
for what
going
you
back
want.
to that, you sure it wasn't? You can't teach speed. Pretty sure it's can't teach speed.
Old
Jared
dog
missed the
needs
entire
tricks.
presentation. He's still hung up
They-
on that.
He's like, "No, I
McCutcheon
think
tried
I
to
was
bat
right
left-handed all year or all off season, and you couldn't teach him that. He had to go back to righty.
Is that your drawing from 2nd grade? Was that your cartoon of the Trojan horse?
I hope Google never checks our podcast too hard because there's going to be copyright infringement all over. my
We're not
podcast.
making money off of it. No, man.
Yeah,
Yet.
yeah.
Well, that was wonderful. I didn't know where
Yeah.
that was going. Joe even brought in stats, guys. Like he's learning.
Yeah. Whoa.
He actually brought in
So maybe you-
solid numbers.
Maybe you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll ascend from the groundskeeper to.
Assistant stat man.
No, never mind. I'll stay down here.
Yeah, you stay
assistant
right where you're at.
assistant
That's
to
awesome.
the stat man. No, let's get into our weekend series predictions. I will recap this past week first.
Hit me
I
with the recap.
We can skip this part.
I'll do it in an order that makes sense, which Aaron, you're still last. Jared went 4-1-0 if his heart would have only let him choose the Astros.
I will never pick the Astros.
Well, that's like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at series. I'm like, okay, we don't need to pick a series that has the Astros in it because we know one person's answer already. Myself and Joe both tied with a 3-2-0, and Aaron pulled up to the caboose with 2-3-1. That brings the yearly totals to a 3-way tie at the top.
You
Huh?
said what was my record?
2-3-0. Sorry. Did
Oh,
I say
okay.
2-3-1?
You did.
Okay, 2-3-0. I was looking at the yearly totals already. The yearly totals are 3-way tie at the top, 7-7-1 between myself, Jared, and Aaron, and 6-8-1 with Joe. So anybody's ball game. I actually had a thought over the when the home run derby gets here, we should do a home run derby draft based on first pick is whoever has the best weekend series prediction record at the time.
I like it.
I like it.
And then we go
Hey.
do a real home run derby with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
producers, go ahead and write that down for us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Okay,
Good job, Corey.
we got it.
yeah.
Thanks, man.
You're paying us a lot of money.
Double it.
Yeah. So let's get started with our picks for this weekend. Starting it off with a newcomer for the weekend series predictions, the Cubs at the Marlins. To no one's surprise, I will be taking the Cubs. I like the Cubs, but also one thing I've been holding back talking about all these advanced team stats with you. The Marlins are actually the most overachieving team so far. They have 4 wins above their expected total based on the Pythagorean record. And I guess it's base runs is not as bad, but I just don't think they're as good as they should be. And I like the Cubs, so I'm going to take the Cubs.
Is that a 3-game or 4-game set?
Man, I don't know.
Because you'll miss if it's only 3 games too. Alcantara just pitched today, so
I
you miss.
think it's I mean, I looked at the probables for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I wasn't impressed. So I
Yeah.
assume Alcantara is not going in that series. What do you got, Jared?
Marlins.
You know what to do, Jay Lee.
Mhm.
It's because I'm a huge hater for sure, but I will never pick the Cubs to win a series. I'm sorry. They could be playing little league team. So
Sound
Marlins.
logic.
Man, I've been a fan of the Marlins this year. I thought they were a team to watch out for. But I'm going Chicago, I think. Chicago's rolling. It'll be one of the better tests that Chicago's had.
Yeah.
Although they've played the Dodgers well all year.
Yeah, they just lost the Padres tonight. Beat them yesterday.
Padres are bad. I don't know what they're doing out there.
They've had a tough start. I mean, like they've played a lot of good teams.
They've been shut out 20% of their games.
Yeah, well, Manny Machado can't find his rake. We've already discussed that.
Shouldn't matter. Okay, sorry. Cubs.
It's okay. All right, Cubs. Moving on to Yankees at Rangers. I am on the Rangers bandwagon. Yankees have scuffled. They had a good game today, but the offense has been struggling. That Stanton went down. Shocker. I'm sure to everybody. So I'm gonna take the Rangers and the Yankees Rangers.
Well, it's all about honesty here, and as I made my predictions, I circled the Yankees before Cooney mentioned that news about Aaron Judge, so hopefully that doesn't affect too much.
He played the rest of the game.
So Yankees, even though the Rangers are the hot team, Yankees.
He's not expected to miss any time, is he?
Not that's anything yet. So
I mean, you got to think they probably give him like a day or something, though, right?
Yeah.
I have the mostly based off pitching matchups. I have the Rangers winning.
Rangers pitching
Outside of
this year.
Yeah, and outside of Cole, at least in this series,
when the eyes of the Ranger are upon you,
many wrongs you do, you'll never see.
I'm going the Rangers as well. This is Rangers. I did very little research for these predictions because last week I did a bunch of research and it completely backfired. So I'm going gut feeling. I'm going Rangers. They seem to be the hot team in our standings, so I'm going to jump on board.
Yep, that's where I'm at. Next is Angels at Brewers. I really want the Angels to win this series. I just want the Angels to win every game they ever play. So I'm going to take the Brewers as a sort of reverse jinx here, because it's a win-win for me because either the Angels win the series and I'm happy in real life, or the Brewers win the series and I'm happy because I got to win in this nonsensical competition that we're doing.
Hey, don't make fun of this competition.
Yeah, dude, this is a life or death.
It's spot in the Homer draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's not snake, so if you have the last pick in the first round, you have the last pick in the second round too.
It's fair. All right. I'm picking the Angels.
Oh, nice.
Just call me out.
Got one with you.
Milwaukee. Pitching matchups are way better. It's at Milwaukee. So, if you get to extras, you'll get to start with a guy on second.
Everybody gets to start with a guy on second.
So, Milwaukee.
Even though they had to come back and beat the Athletics multiple times in that last game, I'm going with the Angels. They got it. They got to get to the playoffs this year.
Yeah. I think
they better start winning.
Yeah. They haven't had a bad start. They needed to have a better start. But I think probably the most exciting matchup this weekend is Braves at Mets. You get to see the two powerhouses at the top. Unfortunately, you don't get to see the two powerhouse pitchers for the Mets. as far as I know, Verlander's not going to make some miraculous comeback over the weekend. That being said, I'm going to take the Mets because I want to be different than some of the people and what they choose.
Wow, Corey. Okay.
I just
We think
know-
alike
Do we?
because I am also taking the Braves.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
mean-
over here.
Yeah.
the Braves are good.
With those two not pitching, I think it's gonna be a pretty easy series for the
And I
Braves.
think Singa went today, right? So he's probably not going over the weekend.
It's a 4-gamer.
So split.
No, I'm
Nobody
going
ever
Braves.
choose
We-
split.
I didn't even know that was a rule.
I didn't know it was either.
It was very well explained in the first edition of the preseason predictions or the weekend predictions. I don't need you to tell me what you're doing, but you can if you want to.
What did Joe say? I didn't hear.
He said Braves.
Braves, yeah.
Oh, okay. I think about this. Braves.
All right, moving on to the next one, Corey.
Yeah. All right, we got a kind of an. I think it's more interesting than it might look on paper. The Orioles at Tigers. The Javier Baez has got hot lately.
In-game hit streak.
Yeah, and Javi's a guy that can really take over a game if he wants to.
They need to bench him once a week.
Yes, that's the secret. Erod's going this weekend. Boyd, I think, is going this weekend. I don't know if they actually updated those yet or not, but based on my very in-depth analytics, those two guys are going to pitch. I'm actually, again, if the Orioles win, I'll be happy as well, but I'm going to take the Tigers. I just think that the Orioles, the probables for the Orioles are not like it's Grayson who's got an ERA over 5. It's Dean Kramer who's got an ERA over 6. Like I think where each team is at in their rotation, it actually favors the Tigers. So I'm taking the Tigers.
Oh, that's a terrible pick.
Let's see that look when I go 5-0 next.
It's
next
all about the have to. And right now, the Orioles have that. So I wouldn't be wearing this. You can lock that in right there. Orioles. Moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I think the Orioles win pretty easily. Detroit can't score runs, and if you don't score runs, you can't win.
And if you hit, you play.
That's true. If you hit, you play.
Mhm.
So there's
Or-
not a
I
lot of
wrote
people playing in Detroit.
Or if
Wrote
your whole
that down.
team doesn't hit, somebody has to play. And that's what it looks like Detroit's got going on here.
They like Torkelson and Green, like they got guys. They got to hit sometime.
Guess
Right.
Torkelson's OPS right now.
I don't know, 550.
Well, that's 586. Baez, 10-game hitting streak,
Okay.
580.
Okay, but you see, so they've got Sunday. The matchup is Kyle Bradish.
I can get
630
these guys out.
Okay, the Sunday the matchup is Kyle Bradish, 630
You're wrong.
ERA, Spencer Turnbull, 725 ERA, so that's a wash. It's Dean Kramer, 620 to Matthew Boyd, 426 on Saturday. And then Grayson's at 512 and Eduardo Rodriguez is at 232. Like the pitching matchups, like
If the pitching is a wash, then the
But it's not.
massively
The-
better Baltimore lineup.
the first two games favor the Tigers.
Did we let Jared, did you pick? Did we cut you off?
He did the whole. you know.
Okay. I blacked out for a second when Corey said Tigers and I started
So
looking through
Joe needs to his pick. I assume it's the Orioles though.
I believe I said it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, definitely Orioles. Like this Tigers lineup's atrocious. Jake Rogers has an 817 OPS. The next highest is Zach McKinstry at 721. And then Kerry Carpenter's at 703. Nobody else is over 670. That's atrocious.
Hey, the cold hands got to get hot, or the opposite of whatever you said last
No,
time.
hot hands gotta get cold. Cold hands do not have to get hot.
All right, well, so we are split on Cubs Marlins, 3-1 in favor of the Rangers versus the Yankees. Split on Brewers Angels, 3-1 in favor of the Braves at the Mets, and 3-1 in favor of the Orioles at the Tigers. I am on the one side of two of those 3-1s.
It's like
The
nobody's
wrong
got the
side.
exact None of us had the exact same picks, I don't think.
I believe you're correct. Which
This will be fun.
always makes. I mean, it just makes it more fun. And
Mhm.
I'll go
So it's
5-0, and everybody else won't do so good. So
Well, if you go 5-0, then I'm going to get 2. So
that
That's
sounds
not
about
good.
right.
You ain't going 5-0.
Get us out of here.
All righty. So this wraps up April, guys. That's crazy. We were 1 month in already.
Yes,
Next time
sir.
we're together, it'll be May. We're going to do something a little different next week. We've talked about revisiting our preseason predictions, checking in on our MVPs and our rookie of the years and all that good stuff, and seeing how we did as a big segment. And I think Jared's got something to say.
Yes, thank you. So coming up in the new month, May, and you know what May brings? May brings merch. So be on the lookout for that. Got some things in the works.
Big
We'll put it on the
announcement.
Twitter feed, all that fun stuff, guys. So be on the lookout for that.
Also, you know
Awesome,
what Justin
sir.
Timberlake says about May.
It's gonna be May.
There you go.
All right. So next week we'll be back with another episode. We'll do another weekly top 5. We'll do weekly predictions.
Can you do that when you get your rake out?
And we will recap our award predictions. But until next time, don't forget to
Rake your position.
Oh my God, that was good.
Can't believe you guys didn't know what that was. My car was just giving us
there. It
so
sounds
worse.
like earlier it just sounded.
All the same notes.
It was.
The first
It was
8 notes
exactly.
is just like back and forth.
You weren't going back and forth the first time. It was the same note. Like,
Everybody get ready for this.
who said this to Aaron Neville?